Joined here by our guest, Dani Dayan, the outgoing chairman of the Yesha Settler Council in the West Bank. Dani, you talked a great deal in part one about the narrative and the rights and it all being about rights. By what right? Because I look at you and you don't meet the classic stereotype in the West of a settler with a skull cap and a machine gun in the arm and a Torah in the other. You don't meet that. You're a secular man, I believe.
Yeah.
On what grounds then do you say you have a right to be in the West Bank when the international community says you have no right to be there?
As I said, it is my homeland.
You're from Argentina, I believe.
Yes, but as a Zionist, I believe that every Jew should, of course is entitled, but should live in the land of Israel. That's, as I said, the national liberation movement of the Jewish people. And the fact that this is the cradle of Jewish civilization. I mean, it seems even funny for me that I have to explain why those are the places in which Jewish civilization, Jewish culture, Jewish history happened. I mean, that's right that we were expelled from the land of Israel. We went for very long 2,000 years to the diaspora, but we yearned to return, and we did.
Do you ever feel bad, uncomfortable, guilty even when you see that in order to return, lots of other people had to leave against their will, some of whom are living in refugee camps?
Well, I am not sure they had to leave, they left. The fact that there is another ethnic group there, another national group, that feels dispossessed because of that, is tragic. That's the reason the Zionist movement, Israel, accepted partition. The moment they rejected it, I have no remorse towards the Palestinians. You know, in the balance of morality, in the balance of justice, both in the aims and both in the tactics, I think that we have the upper hand by far. Therefore, no, I don't feel any, remorse or burden on my conscience. You know, this old Jewish joke about the guy that killed his father and then goes to court and asks for clemency because he's an orphan. That's in many ways what the Palestinians are doing. They try to take the whole land by force.
Attacks on Palestinian property, on olive groves,
okay.
Price tag attacks, I believe they're called.
Okay, sure. I am the most outspoken person against those things. I think
we managed to stop them.
It's a moral abhorrence. I really cannot understand why the Israeli police does not succeed in stopping those fringe elements. It's shameful, yes, but the thought that building home is a war crime
on someone else's land.
It's not someone's land. That's exactly the argument.
So the land was all empty.
So
you just arrived and picked a hilltop.
Empty, no.
Didn't bother anyone.
First of all, yes.
Do you really believe this?
The populated area of Judea and Samaria is 4 to 5%.
Oh, come on, Dani, you know you're being...
Again, Mehdi, you cannot...
According to Bet Salem's report, based on official data, 42% of the West Bank is controlled by settlers, 60% by the Israeli military.
The built area of Judea and Samaria, in which there are settlements, is 3 to 4% of the area. There is plenty of room for millions of Jews and millions of Palestinians in Judea and Samaria. I don't want to displace anyone.
I want to bring in a couple of our experts. Ghada, two questions, if you can be brief. Dani says Palestinians weren't expelled, including yourself. He also says there's plenty of space for the Palestinians. Deal with those 2 points, please.
You know, I tell you, if I took Mr. Dayan seriously, I would be really upset. But the sort of things he's saying are so preposterous and have been shown so clearly to be untrue and to be just cliches in order to justify theft and keeping other people's property. Don't underestimate people's intelligence. I indeed had to leave my home. My family had to leave its home in Jerusalem in April 1948 because of the activities of Jewish militias. That is precisely why we had to leave. It's nothing to do with partition, but everything to do with Jewish killer gangs that went round and expelled people. Secondly, you, Mr. Dayan, are living on land, some of which would have belonged to my family because we originate in the West Bank town of Tulkarm. The land of my grandfather and my father and my uncles was taken by Israel, and the settlements that are being built all the time, including yours, are on land that belonged to us and many other Palestinians in the same predicament. So really, you shouldn't be saying this sort of thing. The only reason that you can come out with this preposterous stuff is for one reason and one reason only. Not because you've got a right. You haven't got a shred of a right to my homeland, not a shred. No, no. The reason is that the Israeli army protects you and people like you 24/7. If these...
Oh, okay, let Dani come back in, and then I want to bring in Sam. You wouldn't be there without the IDF, would you?
Well, of course, because of the terrorism of the Palestinians. But, you know, of course, I mean, why do I need protection? I need protection because someone wants to kill me.
What you're mixing up is some Palestinians support a one-state binational solution in which Jews and Palestinians all vote. You don't. You don't want to give the Palestinians a vote. No, forget that. I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Do you support a state? Would you live in a state where Palestinians and Jews both vote for a government?
I don't support it, but
no, you don't. You don't want to give the Palestinians
I don't support it, but in the context, in the framework of a real negotiations on the final status solution that can be raised on the negotiating table. Right now, to propose that is like saying, look, I tried to kill you, I rejected your compromise, and since I didn't succeed to kill you, and you didn't accept my compromise, let's commit suicide.
Your compromise involves you building